The CEO of Twitch is set to be interrogated by Congress alongside other CEOs in an effort to suppress leftist speech online. Ethan Klein's H3 subreddit can't figure out if they like this. The consensus is we wanted fascist censorship, but it was only supposed to be for Hassan. You would think this moment would be a wake-up call that Ethan had been pushing an inherently fascist agenda when he screams about how dangerous, un-American, extremist, tanky leftists need to be deplatformed and silenced. But no, they think it's Hassan's fault for existing. Yeah, you got it, guys. H3H3 foot soldiers, you got what you wanted. Why aren't you celebrating? It doesn't make any sense. Isn't this what you wanted? What do you think was going to happen? I don't understand. What the did you think was going to happen? You're getting what you wanted. I disagree with that. They love this. They're not conflicted. These are the few dissenters. Hassan and other radical propagandists should be banned from Twitch. However, this being a government action and not an action taken at the platform's sole discretion opens an extremely ugly precedent. Also, those Republicans won't stop with people like Hassan and use this to go after any and all people, even slightly left of MAGA. This is not a good thing. They didn't realize when they were propping up Asmongold as an alternative, highlighting his active attacks against me. What happened? I told you. Dan was telling Lonerbox he regrets it because he didn't actually think it would ever happen and that Destiny and you are both targeted by politicians now. Oof. Yeah, I saw that too. What happened to all those trips to DC, lobbying Republican congresspersons for them to come after me and deplatform me, for them to go after Twitch? What happened? How many times did I say that this administration was going to inevitably do that to everyone? I didn't think the leopards would eat my face. How did this happen? Part of the reason why it's happening also is because I have to 1v99 motherfuckers on this, okay? Every goddamn day. From all different walks of life, all different backgrounds. Like I said, from Andrew Cuomo to Eric Adams to the ADL to Jake Tapper. And now you know who else is shaking hands on this? Nick Fuentes. Up in here being like, hell yeah, brother. Time for the deplatforming. McCarthyism is here. And it was championed by a lot of self-described liberals as well. Wake the up. If you're conflicted in this moment, wake up and realize who the real enemy is here, okay? Jesus Christ, I have, in spite of the unimaginable amount of resentment that has come from all of these different like self-described liberal places, not once even shied away from openly admitting who the real problem is. It's Donald Trump and his administration, and these idiots are still holding on to petty grievances. It blows my mind. I'm split on this. On the one hand, I want bozos like Mike from PA and Hassan to be held accountable for their rhetoric. On the other hand, I know that no matter what the context of what is shown is, Republican Senate will use this as a justification to further paint the left as dangerous and attribute these morons to political violence where it actually wasn't attributable to. I think some of you guys are losing the plot if you're cheering this on. This will literally only hurt left-leaning and progressive political commentators while fascists and right-wing radicals will continue to dominate the airwaves. Oh my God. Oh my God. They're finally realizing it. What happened? I thought Asmongold was just like kind of MAGA. It was fine, right? When you guys were hyping up every dumb Republican on the internet. The fact that the Republicans are in charge means we shouldn't trust them to handle any investigation in a fair, balanced, and trustworthy way. But as long as they are in power over the government of the United States, they're also the only hope to enforce just the most basic standards that Twitch has been flagrantly violating. That's one of the main issues with tackling escalating anti-Semitism or escalating calls to violence online. These are problems that cross traditional left-right boundaries, but they still get funneled into the insanely divided and polarized landscape of American politics right now. So I've been dealing with this for the past 2 years, from Ethan Klein, from Destiny, from Dan Saltman, and numerous other right-wing groups that are now also involved. What the do I do? Asmongold is another dipshit that is also engaged in this. The more they attempt this and the more it doesn't happen, the more insane they get. Yeah, Richie Torres, Andrew Cuomo, Eric Adams, Ethan Klein, Destiny, Asmongold, Dan Saltman. What the fuck are ADL? What is happening? What the fuck is happening? Elon Musk has gotten to a point where it feels like if you're not like, I mean, bring some goddamn Marxist-Leninists in there too and throw them in the pile too, you know? Just what a rotation of people who have decided that ideologies aside, we can all get together, shake hands, and take out the true evil in American society. Is fucking Hassan derangement syndrome. The only reason why they're feeling the stress right now is because the very same people that they thought that they could align with are now coming after Sex Pestiny. You understand that, right? Good job, you fucking moron. Are you happy? Amazing. This is why you don't ally with fascists. You don't align with fascists. You lie with pigs and you get covered in shit. This is the most foreseeable consequence. And guess what? I warned about this non-fucking stop. I warned about this over and over again. Nobody wanted to listen to me. Philip DeFranco didn't want to cover it. All these apolitical fucking slop tubers also didn't want to cover it either. What will it take for people to realize that this was an incredibly dangerous game to play? Yes, these guys hate me. No, Philip DeFranco didn't refuse to cover it. I'm just saying, like, this is the type of shit that normally Philip DeFranco would cover, but he didn't. Nobody covered it while it was happening. Nobody actually applied any sort of internal pressure from the commentary sphere. And look at where we're at. We fucked around and we're all collectively finding the out. What is the it happened? I just got here. The administration threatened to pull licensing from ABC unless they pull Jimmy Kimmel off the airwaves. And ABC fucking capitulated. And not only did ABC capitulate, this morning we found out that after all of the endless advocacy from these dipshits, the Republicans have decided to add Twitch and the Twitch CEO to the pile-on in the post-Charlie Kirk violent rhetoric galore for one reason and one reason fucking only. We know what reason that is. As much as I agree with everything you're saying, all these content creators would have been covering this whole time. The Trump admin still would have done full fascism. No, dude. I know that they would have, but at the very least, they wouldn't have fucking put the crosshairs on Twitch, for example. At least one avenue would be safe from the additional scrutiny. They redirected the attention to Twitch for their own personal ambitions, for their own personal vengeance quest. Do you not understand? Of course, the admin would inevitably come after someone like myself, but there is no reason to accelerate it. You know, there's no reason to work alongside them. These fucking idiots gave them the clips to post everywhere. Moody versus NetChoice 2024, the Supreme Court ruling had the result of companies not being required or their rules/committee guidelines being regulated to be enforced to the letter, as that would violate First Amendment rights. Congress and states can't force a company to follow their guidelines if they don't want to. Of course, there are a million different First Amendment violations here. You cannot get the FCC to regulate like this over the content of Jimmy Kimmel's joke. The administration is also obviously trying to apply pressure in congressional hearings to Twitch for a very specific purpose, to throw a little bit of fucking red meat in the direction of the dumbest morons on the internet. You know, you made your fucking shit sandwich, now you got to eat it, right? Fantastic. Make no mistake, television broadcasts are growing increasingly right-wing. Larry Ellison owns Skydance, and that's why Colbert got fired. I know. The problem is, television is somewhat inconsequential. What we're talking about here is Twitch. And it's not just Twitch. It'll be TikTok. It'll be all of the platforms that don't actually capitulate to the Trump administration. I'm not even, dude, I'm not even mad that this is like personally targeting me, okay? That is frustrating. But the major reason why I'm frustrated here is that this is leaning into the severe restrictions on political dissidents, an erosion of free speech. These guys understand that there is a threat here for discontent, and they do not want discontent to exist. I cannot believe it, dude. Aligning with Republican congresspersons for this? The fuck do you think was going to happen?